For our next keynote, please welcome Chip Bergh, President and CEO of Levi Strauss & Company. Chip will be interviewed by Sara, Eisen, journalist at CNBC.
Hi, everybody. Chip, nice to see you.
Good to see you too, Sara.
I don't know where to begin. We're going to talk about 170 years of history and what the brand has meant. And I'm excited about this because we don't always get to talk about this on our interviews. You know, coming out of COVID, and I'm sure I'm not alone, I bought a ton of jeans, like threw out the skinny jeans, decided to get flares, decided to get mom jeans. Everything was different. And I feel like everyone was buying jeans. But that was now a few years ago. So where are we? How do you keep it cool?
Well, I think part of the key to the success of this brand has been keeping one foot firmly rooted in our history and our tradition, while the other foot is stepping forward with innovation. And fortunately, this time we've been leading in the trends and the cycles. So exactly as you said, the skinny jean is not dead. I've declared that. It will never go away. But yes, see,
people are happy. You don't have to throw them away.
But as we went into the pandemic and then through the pandemic, there was clearly a focus on comfort. And so the new trend is the baggier straight jean for women's. The waist, the rises were very, very high. The rises are now starting to come down a little bit. But that is what's been leading the trend. And a new denim cycle is a good thing. The skinny jean denim cycle lasted for over a decade. So we're in the very early innings of the new denim cycle. And it drives the rest of apparel. When the silhouette changes on a pair of jeans, the top changes, the shoes change, everything else changes. So it's good for the apparel industry.
I heard a rumor that you don't wash your jeans. Is that true?
The actual quote is, "My jeans have never seen the inside of a washing machine." So I do wash my jeans, but I wash them kind of the old-fashioned way, the way we did when we were kids traveling around Europe with a backpack. Hop in the shower with a bar of soap and soap them down, rinse them off, wring them out, and let them dry.
Seriously? Is that what we should do to preserve our jeans?
Yeah. A washing machine, it consumes a ton of water, so it's not good for planet Earth. And you can wash your jeans pretty well in a shower. And it's much more sustainable, and it's better for the fabric. So if you're a true denim head, that's the way true denim heads wash their denim.
Denim heads?
Denim heads.
So your brand is synonymous with denim?
Yes.
And we've gone through cycles where denim is not in style. I mean, a few years ago, everyone was wearing leggings and sweatpants.
Right.
So how do you keep the brand going during all these cycles?
We're actually celebrating the 150th year of the 501 this year. So we've been around selling jeans. We started the category, with the infamous patented rivet, which strengthened the pockets during the gold rush. And so if you were a miner mining for gold and you blew out your pants, that was a problem. You had to leave Eureka, go into San Francisco, get a new pair of pants, and you weren't mining for that week. So that's how the category started. And it is a very cyclical business. All of apparel is. And the key to the business and the key to our success over the long period of time has been our values, what we stand for, and producing quality apparel that never goes out of style, that represents a great value to the consumer. And that's kind of been our focus and our mission for 150 years, and it's a big part of the reason we've been around that long.
150 years of 501, and I see now there are plant-based versions of those? What does that even mean?
That's correct. We actually had the most sustainable pair of jeans ever sold that we launched about 6 months ago. It included 50% recycled denim fibers in it. So it was 50% recycled denim fiber, organic cotton, and every single piece of material on the fabric was completely recyclable. So, and that was a pair of 501s. charged at a slight premium. It was very, very successful, and we'll keep doing it. Real innovation.
You also have diversified away from jeans. You're not only jeans. I think I saw in the last conference call, what is it, 40% of revenue?
40%, very
jeans?
good.
That seemed low to me.
Yeah, when I joined the company almost 12 years ago, the company was not performing well from a financial standpoint. The brand had lost its relevance. I have 2 older boys, and when they were teenagers, they never wore the brand. It was just not even in their consideration set. And my hypothesis when I came in was if we could put the brand back at the center of culture, back the way it was when I was a kid, when I had to have a pair. I like to say everybody's got a Levi's story, and if we could kind of get back to that, we'd turn the brand around, and that would turn the company around. And that really is fundamentally what we've done. And we've done it by putting the brand back at the center of culture, reconnecting with youth, making the brand, for lack of a better word, making the brand cool again, and doing crazy things like putting our name over the door at a football stadium. Because what's culture in this country? It's sports, it's food, it's entertainment. What happens in football stadiums?
Taylor
Sports,
Swift
food.
performances?
Taylor Swift, too, exactly. It's sports, it's entertainment, it's food. And that has helped to put the brand back at the center of culture as well.
The other thing that changes, and that I know you're thinking a lot about, Chip, is how we buy. Whether we go to department stores or shop online, direct to consumer, there's been so many changes. So how do you position a brand with such rich and deep history like Levi's into where we're going?
Yeah, and the consumer is definitely changing in this regard too. But another part of our strategy when I joined 12 years ago, at that point in time, we were largely a U.S.-based men's blue jean bottom business. Sold in U.S. wholesale. That was fundamentally our business at that point in time. And our strategy was to diversify away from that. That was our strength. That was our core. We had to continue to build that profitable core. But to be successful over time, we needed to expand beyond men's blue jean bottoms. The biggest obvious candidate was women's. Women buy 75% of denim. The women's blue jeans category is much bigger than men's, but they also buy most men's product as well. So if we could win with women's, we were way underdeveloped with women, that would be a big win. We expanded beyond denim to chinos and other materials. We got outside of just bottoms and started focusing on tops. And what goes better with a pair of blue jeans than a t-shirt? Like, we should be able to sell t-shirts. So we built a pretty decent-sized t-shirt business. Our tops business was 10% of our business. When I joined, it's more than 20% on a much bigger business today. Our women's business has gone from less than 20% of our total business to more than a third. It should be 50% of our business in the future. And then to your point about channels, we declared that we were going to focus on our own direct-to-consumer business and focus on our own retail and our own e-commerce, which at the time when I joined was about 20% of our business. We're now approaching 40% of our business, again on a business that's now 50% bigger than it was when I joined. So in total revenues, it's much bigger. But that is really, really important because we're in control of that consumer experience, whether it's online or in our stores. We can romance the product, we can serve the consumer, we get all of the data as well, and that is also important. And we're continuing to double down on retail, both brick and mortar and online. We're continuing to invest there.
This is sort of a loaded question, but appropriate for the venue. How do you see the future of retail?
The future of retail? In our business, there is no question that brick and mortar is here to stay. As I said, we're continuing to invest. We open about 100 new doors every single year around the world.
Does that include the mall? Is the mall here to stay?
Remember
the death of the mall?
Some of it's mall-based, but also street-level stores. So a mix of all of the above. We've really put an emphasis on our Mainline Doors, which sells our better product, which has always been a challenge for us here in the U.S., but we've been opening Mainline Doors very successfully here over the last 2 years or so, and we believe we've got a real bright future here in the U.S. Most of our doors in the U.S. have historically been outlet doors, which is, the dirty secret of the apparel business is that's where a lot of the profit is made. But our mainline doors now are very, very successful, and we're investing there. And then, of course, e-commerce becomes increasingly more important. It was less than 2% of the business when I joined. I think last year we closed the year at 7 or 8% of our total business, and we've said, our objective is to get it to 15% over the next 5 years. That's where the young consumer is shopping. We've got an app now. We're really doubling down on the technology there. We just hired a new chief digital officer who started about a month ago, who joined us from Nordstrom and bringing a ton of experience. And we're super, super energized by his leadership. So I think we've got a real potential there. The other thing that's changing in the way the consumer is shopping, for those of you who have teenagers like I do, they're really into the circular economy. And thrifting is really, really important. Buying secondhand, making it your own, wearing it for a while, potentially re-thrifting it later, that is where the puck is heading. And Levi's vintage is something that people will pay a premium for. They'll go hunting for it. I like to say nothing validates the value of our brand than someone who's willing to pay $300 or $400 for a vintage trucker jacket when we sell them brand new for $100 or $150. It really does speak to the power of the brand.
Absolutely. So you mentioned technology and the new chief digital officer. I saw a headline that you're going to be using AI models. We're replacing models now?
Well, we're experimenting. As we do with a lot of technology stuff, half of the things that we do wind up being total flops, but kind of fail fast, fail cheap, and move on. But yeah, we are working with a company to experiment with digital models, basically. And if you think about it, for our e-commerce sites around the world, we're shooting photography for sites all over the world on our product assortment. And our assortments vary from the US to Europe to Asia. So it's just shooting the photography for our sites is a pretty complex operation. And you have to hire models for it. And that is somewhat limiting in terms of your full potential. So the ability to do digital models along with digital imagery of our products is potentially revolutionary. It can drive incredible efficiency, lower the cost, and give us a much wider range of potential models in the future. So we're experimenting with it. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work, we shut it down fast and move on.
So it's not just about fashion and all the changes we've talked about. It's about leadership, your story. And you mentioned you came in 12 years ago. It was a mess. You turned around the company. You took it public. I remember seeing you at the stock exchange. It was the first day we were all allowed to wear jeans on the floor. And now they've changed the rule.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, that was a big day. That was 2019. Yeah, I look back, in 12 years, it's been an amazing ride, and it hasn't been me. It has been all about the team and just creating a winning strategy and a winning culture and really putting the consumer first at every decision point that we have. And I've been blessed to have an incredible team. But, when I joined, I actually wrote my retirement speech. It was an exercise that I had to do in my early days, and I wrote my retirement speech 12 years ago. And I kind of looked at it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, wow, so much of this came true because,
that's awesome.
I kind of lived into the future that I wanted, I guess. And taking the company public was a big moment for the company, and it probably defined in a big way the future of the company. But it has been all about creating the team. And I've got an amazing team and now a succession plan in place that I'm also really, really excited about.
Well, that's where I was going, because this is sort of unique, what you've done. You brought on Michelle Goss, who's hopefully here in the audience, from Kohl's, to be your successor sometime over the next 18 months?
Yeah, we said within 18 months. Always hopefully under-promise and over-deliver, right, is the way I like to roll. But yeah, we've had a robust process in place with the board of directors on CEO succession. And, and I've been saying for a while, I was the right guy for what the company needed 12 years ago. The brand was broken, and I'm a brand guy. I spent 28 years at Procter & Gamble building brands, and, my thesis when I joined the company, as I said, was if I could turn the Levi's brand around and make it the way it was when I was a kid, that would turn the company around and put us on the path to success. And effectively, in short, that's what we've done. So I was the right guy for 12 years ago. Now we're doubling down on retail. We're doubling down on digital. The consumer has changed, but we are becoming more and more a real retailer. And Michelle brings almost 30 years of real retail experience, 17 years at Starbucks, and then the last 10 years at Kohl's.
But also P&G, which the lesson there, everyone's successful
started
comes
her
out of
career,
Cincinnati.
I was just about to say that. She's like me. She started her career at P&G. She actually summer interned at P&G and then joined P&G full-time and spent about 6 years there. So she also has that classical training in her blood, but she's really in her heart. She's an operator, she's a retailer, and that's what we need going into the future. And she's now been with the company for about 3 months. We've been working together I've known her for 10 years. She was one of my biggest customers as CEO, and we talked a lot, especially through the pandemic. We were talking very, very regularly. So I've gotten to know her really, really well. And we were, as I said, with the board, working on CEO succession, and I thought I was going to be around a couple more years still developing somebody either internally or a successor from the outside who had never been a CEO before. And, Michelle answered the phone when we called, and she said, yes, she'd be willing to do this. And I think it takes an incredible amount of humility, and this is the kind of person she is, for somebody who is a sitting CEO and has been a sitting CEO for 5 years, and she's been through the wars, 2 activist campaigns, very, very tough, and the business was challenged as well, COVID, everything that she had been through, to be able to be willing to come in and take a step back from being a CEO to be president for up to 18 months, to learn the company, learn the business, begin to put her fingerprints on her agenda that she's going to establish. And the strategy is right. She's bought into the strategy. It's all about the cascading choices and execution. And she's hit the ground running. It's been 3 months, as I said, and she is off to a great start. And I am super optimistic about our future as a company. I think my biggest legacy is not the turnaround. It's not taking the company public. My biggest legacy will be a successful successor who takes the company to the next level.
And when does that happen?
Sometime in the next 18 months.
Trying to make some news here, Chip.
I know, you're a journalist, you had to ask.
You're clearly authentic, and that as a brand, and that you said is a big part of the success story. As someone who covers a lot of the retailers and other companies as well, I think you've been unique in the voice you have taken and injected into larger societal issues. I'm thinking about when you came out against the Roe v. Wade decision, against gun violence, sort of daring statements that other companies weren't willing to do. How do you do that?
Well, first of all, I like to say it's not about me, that this is about the platform of the role of the CEO at Levi Strauss. So the company's been around for 170 years. We've been making blue jeans for 150. But the very first year that Levi Strauss, the man, the myth, the legend, made profit, he donated a percentage of it back to a local orphanage in San Francisco. So the company has always been around to do more than just make a dollar for the shareholder. We've always been about making a difference in the world, trying to make the world a better place. And that sounds, like a very ambitious, golden thing to say, but we really try to live that. And so this company has a long track record. I mean, I'll rattle a few off just for kicks, but back when we had factories in the South and Southeast, we desegregated the factories 10 years before the Civil Rights Act. We, pulled funding from the Boy Scouts when they banned gay troop leaders. We got 100,000 letters that next week saying I'm never buying Levi's again, and the company never wavered. We were the first company in America to give health care benefits to same-sex partners. The list just keeps going on. And so we have a long history of not being afraid to take stands on important social issues and trying to make the world a better place. So, when the leak happened on Roe v. Wade, we immediately jumped in because there's a business case here about taking a stand on women having agency over their bodies. And more than almost 60% of our employees are women, and I've been hearing it from our employees that they were really concerned about this. Same thing with gun violence. We took. Thank you.
You're not worried about being labeled woke?
I will have a conversation with anybody who wants to go there if they don't use that cheap phrase thrown at me. It is a cheap way out of having a conversation.
I wasn't calling you woke.
I know you weren't, but when it gets thrown around like that, I know not everybody in this audience is going to agree with where we stand. Not everybody in my company necessarily agrees, and I respect that, and I'm willing to sit down and have a conversation with anybody who has an alternate point of view, and I think that helps make the world a better place. So I'll go there with anybody if they want to have a real conversation and listen and have real dialogue.
There you go. We're out of time. There's the Top Gun inspiration. Chip Bergh, thank you
very
much.
Thank you,
it's been a
everyone.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.